So I'm going to upgrade the RAM of this old Windows 10 machine. The machine works fine, it does everything I want to do, except it freezes up when I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I would have to spend $1,500 or so to get a machine comparable to this one. So I'm going to spend about $180 and just upgrade the RAM. Let's go over some terms that will help us decide what memory to get. So in this column, this is what the motherboard support is. That limits what you can do. And I found that by going to the manufacturer's site. So this motherboard will take a maximum RAM of 64 gigabytes, maximum RAM speed of 3466 megahertz, and the number of cards on the motherboard is 4, and the slot protocol that the motherboard is designed for is DDR4. Now the old memory card column here shows that I had 16 gigabytes installed. It was running at 2100 megahertz. I was using 2 of 4 slots, and I'm using the DDR4 slot protocol. The new RAM cards, this column, show that I will have 32 gigabytes running at 3200 megahertz. You'd be using 4 of 4 slots, the same DDR4 slot protocol. Now, at the bottom here is the timing for the old cards. This is the timing for the new cards. All 4 of these cards have to match exactly on the timing, and the timing is listed on the back of the cards. The cards also have to match the speed. The speed of the cards that I bought are 3600 megahertz. Well, I tried to configure the BIOS to handle 3466, and it wouldn't boot. So I backed it down to 3300 megahertz, still wouldn't boot. So now I went down to 32 megahertz and it booted. So it's okay if your megahertz on the cards does not match the megahertz on the motherboard support, because you can change in the BIOS, you can designate what speed the cards will run at. But the timing has to be the same or they won't work. So this should help us decide what memory cards to get. So to find out what I have at the moment, I need to go to the task manager. And to get that, I go to Windows with the Start key, go to X, and then T, and there's your task manager. You click on Performance here, and there's your memory. And here's the information I need. This shows gigabytes of memory that I'm using, and here is the megahertz. It says I'm using 2 of 4 slots. This is the slot protocol, and that is DDR4. The next thing we have to know is the maximum memory that my motherboard will handle. You go to your start menu, or your start button, start, and then you hit R. That opens the run window right here. You type in MS Info 23 and you hit OK, and it shows you what the baseboard manufacturer is, the baseboard product, and the baseboard version. With that information, you go online and you find out what this manufacturer and this baseboard product will support. here's what I found out. This is important. It says it has 4 slots. That's very important. Slot protocol, DDR4, says slot type. I don't know how important that is. But here's the maximum speed, 34.3466 megahertz. The maximum capacity is 64 gigabytes. So now it's time to buy memory. The goal should be to install as much memory as your motherboard will handle and the fastest speeds in megahertz that your motherboard will allow. So if your motherboard has 2 slots, it's simple, it's fairly simple. You take out the old memory cards and you buy a pair of new ones, you install them. The nice part about that is that the cards are matched. So they're exactly the same and there will be no conflict. If you have 4 slots, it can be a little bit more complicated, especially if you're going to use the existing cards and try to match those to a pair of new cards. If you're going to do that, you have to make sure that the frequency, the slot protocol, the timing of the new cards matches the old card. Those numbers have to match. If they don't match, your machine is not going to boot. That's the issue you have if you're going to install 2 new cards and match them to the 2 existing cards. If you have 4 slots and you're going to put all new cards in, it's much easier because all you have to do is match the 2 pairs, and they will, you can do that in the store or online or whatever, and you know you're going to put the right stuff in. Memory card boxes look something like this. You know, it tells you a lot of information right here. Let's enlarge that. So here's your slot protocol. DDR, generally between 3, 4, and 5. 6 is coming up, I think. And this tells you you've got 16 gigabytes. There's 2 cards at 8 gigabytes each. And here's the speed in megahertz. So then we're going to go ahead and buy the cards. Once you buy the cards, you pull the trigger. It's time to install. So this is the 16 gigabyte RAM package. This is a 32 gigabyte RAM package. I'm going to put these 2 in to increase the RAM from 16 to 48 megabytes. These both have to match. This is 3600 megahertz, 3600 megahertz. These are DDR4s. The other thing that has to match is the timing. And the timing is on the back of the cards, right there. It's 4 numbers. This one is 18-22-22-42. They both have to be the same. First of all, we want to turn off the power. And you see that's turned off. The power's turned off. We have to unplug it. And then we want to hold down the start button for 5 seconds. Right here. This will discharge any residual power in there. 1, 5, done. So we just undo these screws and pull off the side. So there's the insides of this thing. Let's see if we can zoom in on it. Here's the 2 existing memory cards. 1, 2. This is in A2 position. This is in B2 position. These cards come in boxes, and has 2 cards in 1 box. So you want to match these 2 cards and put them in the same numbered slot. So the new one will go into A1, and this one will go into B1, and then the other 2 will go into A2 and B2. So it has these little tabs. If you can see these little tabs here, you got to push the tab down and then just pull that thing straight out. See, like that. Now the new ones have to go in, so you got to align this crack. Can you see that slot there in the center? there's a knob in there, or slip into. Okay, here's A1. One side of the contacts is longer here than this side, so that helps you figure out which way these go in. The first one into A1, this one's going into B1. This is a 32 gigabyte pair, so it's 16, this is 16 gigabyte here, DDR4, same thing. This is going to go into A2. Okay, it clicked. So here's the second of the 32 gig pair. I'm just checking these to make sure they're tight. Okay, so that part's done. So now we close it up. So once you get all of your monitor hooked up, your Ethernet, and whatever else connections you have, get those all connected, then plug it in, power it up, and then use your start button to start it. I've got my fingers crossed, and now it's booted fine. And we're starting it up. As we start it, we have to keep hitting delete in order to get into the BIOS. Okay, there's the BIOS. We're going to click on advanced mode. Now up here, we're in advanced mode. We're going to click on AI Tweaker here. And the one we're interested in here is AI Overclock Tuner. Right here. And that has to be set to manual, because we have to change RAM frequency. This one shows 3200 megahertz, and if you click on this, you can select whichever one you want. 800, I think it goes up to about 5,000. That's really all the change we have to make. The BIOS will recognize a change in your RAM capacity, but you have to change this frequency. So now we go back to the easy mode down here. We click on this. Now we just save and exit right here. This one says you have not made any changes to BIOS settings, and that's true because I manually did this before. So you just click OK. Yours, if you change it, it'll show you what you changed. You OK that. It should boot up. We'll be able to check and make sure that all of our changes are recorded in the BIOS. So we'll go to the task manager to do that. Access the task manager by going to Control-Alt-Delete. Task manager is right here. Click on that. And here's our task manager window. Let's open that up. And here's performance. So we're going to go to performance, and then we're going to click on memory. And we're all done.